better than ever. And I know right now that I'm going somewhere and I need some cheddar. Oh, baby,
Hey, what's up,
better
everyone?
not
It's
go.
Andre Luck back with my next episode of the Sports Sales Show, where I'm going to continue talking about revenue operations or RevOps within sports and the type of people that make a good fit for that and how to get roles in RevOps. Because, again, this is something that's fairly new to sports. There's different operational type roles that support sales and ticket sales and partnerships and everything like that, but not one central unit. So, a lot of good salespeople could make great RevOps people, and I'll talk through skills that you'll need to learn if you're coming up through college and you see this as a path of if you want to go and create a lane within sports and the sports revenue generation side of the business. So start with sales. So I think I shared this last episode. This probably could have been a path that I would have went down. I talked to a lot of reps who they enjoy sales, but they get more excited about like the systems and processes that help kind of generate sales and revenue for the organization versus just them solely being the one that's driving sales and being incentivized by money or accomplishments or just being a top salesperson, everything like that. But one of the big reasons that people stay within sales is money. Like you can control your destiny to some extent, based on obviously like the market that which you're selling in, but you're not really capped. You got your commissions. The more you sell, the more money you make. Or in other roles like revenue operations or other support type functions, like you're kind of set at here's your salary. And maybe there's kickers and bonuses based on how the business performs. So you kind of can influence and everything like that way. But you're still dependent on someone to then close the deals and close the sales. So why a lot of people probably wouldn't move over from sales is you could make a lot more money if you're a high performing salesperson, but if that's not your top motivator, or maybe you're mid-tier, but you still enjoy the revenue generation side of the business, that could be a good move over. Like speaking specifically like ticketing, I've seen a lot of good salespeople who then moved over to ticket operations, and that created a new path, a new lane for them. Because when you move up through sales, it's very difficult to kind of climb that ladder, move up within an organization. There's a large amount of like entry level reps, and there's less account executives, then less managers, less directors, less VPs. Like that path starts to get pretty narrow. But if you have the skills and the understanding of what it takes to be in sales and you're in an area that supports sales, there could be a new lane, a new path you create for yourself within an organization or just within the industry that maybe wasn't there before. And I think anyone, if they're going to be touching any type of business around sales, marketing, um, analytics, data, revenue operations, ticketing operations, I think they should start in sales because then you have a different perspective, a different lens of what you're seeing the business, and you have a different understanding versus what your thoughts are or what your assumptions may be. Like on the back end, when I execute, when I deliver this plan to our sales team, or I give these leads or this campaign to the sales team, what actually happens when they get on the phone and talk to the person and either they get hung up on or they get excited to talk to them. So I think anyone at least shadow sales or do an internship around sales, so you just have that understanding on the back end, because that's what we're all here to do: drive more revenue, get more butts in the seats, generate more revenue for the organization, and drive more sales. So that's a great place to kind of start if you're looking for people that could influence sales from operational standpoint, people who've been in it. So yeah, that's a great place to start. The type of people that I think might make a good fit for that, obviously you have to be analytical. Part of the role is building out dashboards and reports and analyzing data. And I talked about last episode how AI could help with that, and make probably create even more opportunities for RevOps professionals because there's not as much like manual grunt work that you're doing. Like a lot of the insights are being served. Now you just have to take that and articulate that into what does that mean for us now moving forward. Someone who likes solving problems. Like in sales, not to say that there isn't challenges, but like that strategic salesperson who's maybe selling like big deals, B2B, corporate partnerships, and like really looking at different ways for like everyone to kind of come together and solve a problem for a business. Like same thing on the operational side. Like what are the roadblocks? What are the things that are slowing people down in the process? Like where are there like chinks in the armor and everything like that? Like you have to be one that is excited to look for those problems, but then also come up with a solution to solve them. Everyone can point out what the problems are and what the stopgaps are and everything like that, and roadblocks. But what who's that person that then looks at that and gets excited, like, all right, I want to put together, a solution to solve that, and then step by step go implement that and make sure. Because there's a lot that goes into project managing and change management, and that's something I'll talk about in a little bit. But when you're solving problems and you're trying to come up with a solution and getting people on board and like methodically step by step making sure that you hit all those parts in the process to move your process along, like that takes a lot of skill, organization, project managing that goes into that. So someone who's like that, you need to have a strong executive presence because you're always reporting on, numbers, data, um, challenges. You're delivering bad news, but you have to deliver bad news, but put a positive spin on to like, and here's what we're gonna do to solve that. Um, sometimes, I've seen people in these situations where when they have to deliver bad news, it could be throwing their counterparts under the bus. So you need to have respect, but then do it in a way that's professional, not pointing fingers or pointing blame. Some executive teams like to, whose fault was it, things like that. Like getting out of that and like, oh, this person didn't do this or this team didn't execute. Here's the challenge that we're facing. And here are some reasons that may have been. Here's market conditions that have impacted that. But here's our plan and our path to move forward and how we're going to execute it. Here are the three things we're going to do this quarter to get back on track. So understanding how to speak to different executives, different types of executives, from a hard charging like CRO who's like go 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 go, to an operational COO, to a CFO who's looking at analytics and data and numbers and forecasting and reports and everything like that, being able to articulate your message in your language, which, a lot goes back to being a strong like B2B seller, like knowing your audience and what's most important to them. And then how do you articulate that message to them in a way that they're going to receive it? Like that's something that I think goes unnoticed, really just for any executive, but especially one that's going to be, delivering presentations and reporting and projections and forecasting and tying together all these different departments around one centralized unit, goal, mission. A strong executive presence is big. Being collaborative but firm. I may have said this last episode, but collaborative because you have to work with a lot of different parties and a lot of different personalities and everything like that, and allow people to be heard. You don't want to be talked to or talked down to or feel like you're cutting them off as they're sharing and everything like that. So, but then also being able to say no, because again, this role could very easily become just like a ticket taker where people come to you like, hey, I need this, I need that report, I need this, and you have to be the one to prioritize. And hopefully, you've been given the blessing, or at least it's been articulated across from the executive level, the CRO or the CEO or president or whoever it is that you report to, that you've been given the autonomy to make decisions for the business, and you're not just an order taker who's just doing whatever task get kind of thrown your way. I also say someone who's innovative. There's a lot of technology and systems and processes that are coming about. So like someone who is excited about going to study those new things, someone who likes going and taking demos every week of like new technologies and sales technology and different tech products that could help move the business forward. And it doesn't always have to be tech or AI or things like that, but what are new systems? What are new processes? What are innovative ways that maybe not even in your same league? What are other leagues doing? What are companies doing outside of sports? And so just looking and finding that inspiration, but excited to do that, and always looking for innovative ways that you could move things forward to progress the organization and see progress. So those are some of the skill sets that I've seen and I think would make a really strong RevOps person, particularly within sports. So let's talk about, maybe you're early in your career and you're like, this is something that, seems intriguing to me, or I think there's a lane I want to try and create, or maybe you're in college, like I want to touch the revenue side of the business, but I don't want to get in sales. Again, I encourage you to at least do an internship, but some skills you could start to learn, like practical hands-on skills that'll help you as you step into the professional world. CRM, every RevOps person, team, they're going to own the CRM. That's like your single source of truth. That's where the data is going to flow into your customer relationship management system. So just understanding the administration part of that, the different CRM systems and tools that are out there. That's to go on dashboards, how do you build dashboards? What should they look like? What are you reporting on? What's beneficial for people? What's like too much information? AI, so understanding how to build agents, automations, the different AI models that are out there, and just starting to learn how those work. This person is probably going to be one of a few people who are really championing this, particularly on the revenue side, because there's a lot of other use cases outside of revenue. But like from a revenue perspective, this person is going to have their hands on that a lot. Forecasting. Now it's probably going to live more with like your finance team of like, long-term forecasting and building out long-range plans, but you're going to work with them on that from a revenue perspective. You got to be able to speak their language. And so understanding how to read, a balance sheet and the P&L and L and everything like that, and understanding what that looks like from a finance perspective, great skills for any future executive to learn, but definitely for a role like this. I talked about change management. Nobody likes change. So whether it's books or courses you take or just understanding just like all the dynamics that go into change management, those are good skills to just start learning, and then you can start putting into practice as you get in the professional world, and just project management skills. And so what software, what tools are out there, what are the best practices as it relates to project management. And that's one that I've had to lean more into now that I'm on the consulting side, because a lot of what we're doing is managing projects. So we, start the engagement here. Our end goal is this. Over the next 6 months, we want to make sure we accomplish, these, 5 or 6 things. We have to build a roadmap to make sure that happens, and proactively stay on top of it to make sure that those things are moving forward. Again, a lot of similarities to sales. You're trying to move a deal forward. You're trying to get a deal across the finish line. Like, you have to be the one project managing it, breaking in the stakeholders all together. So a lot that crosses over from a sales and like a revenue operations perspective. And so, like I said, a lot of teams don't have this role. So I see more starting to bring this on, but let's say you're internally, like, you kind of have to build the role yourself. And a lot of times, when people are looking to get promoted, say you should be doing the job before you get promoted so that you're not stepping in and learning, but you've already been doing the role. So this is one too where you may have to do a lot of the work and be an individual contributor in that department before you build out a proof case that, hey, we need more resources to this. And this is something I saw a lot maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, for like data and analytics teams. As that started to be a thing, there's usually like one person, maybe an intern, and as they prove their worth, like then those teams started to grow and get bigger and add more resources. This would be a similar type one where you show the value, and it may take 12, 18 months to show that. Then you bring in additional resources, you get additional funding to help support the things that you're doing there because you believe in the long-term vision of it. So you got to be able to tell that vision and then deliver on that and everything like that. So proving out the case, and so it's so new to sports, like some people may not even understand or get what it looks like. But the CRO of the future isn't just somebody who came up their career and was just top salesperson, just crushes sales. Obviously, if you're going to be in a chief revenue officer role, chief commercial officer, you got to be able to sell. But what I'm seeing is, someone who understands systems, who understands processes. They may not be the person who's like the leading on that, or that might not be their background, but they understand the importance of having a strong number two, or someone that reports to them, like a revenue operations person, that can handle that. So while they're driving the business forward from a revenue perspective, they got that support. They have this operations person who's working side by side with them. And so, a lot of kind of startup organizations, they start to scale. This is one of the first hires that they look to have, because they know that the efficiency, the effectiveness, the systems, the processes are going to be huge to lay the foundation, lay the groundwork, and build a sustainable model that's going to take them to the long run. But right, they may not be that person. So understanding that this is a key role and finding the right type of people to come in and support and build this up with you. And that could be a path now for you to move into a CRO type role. I've seen a lot more like operational analytics type people move into CRO roles because they understand where the business needs to go and can build out a plan. And they have strong sales leaders underneath them, and ticket sales, partnerships, whatever it may be. So there's a path, a long-term path to move up into a C-level role, potentially even president, if they have the skills that it takes, and they can bring in the right resources to offset their weaknesses and everything like that. So those are ways that you can get into it, why I think salespeople can make a good crossover into it. There's a lot of parallels if you think about the sales process and what this person or this team would be doing on a day-to-day basis. So every episode, talk about some things that stood out to me. Listen to a podcast recently where some executives are talking about in board meetings how they're starting to quantify the value of AI in their sales organization. And so there's not enough use cases yet. There hasn't been enough time to say that it has impacted revenue by X% yet. So to even try and do that, you lose a lot of credibility if you're saying, oh yeah, we've closed a lot more deals because of AI. How do you show that? How do you prove it? So what they're really focusing on is like the leading indicators that are going to drive future revenue. So what they can show is that with AI, sellers have more time selling. The average time that a seller sells and actually face to face with a client or a prospect is around 30%. So they could easily prove, all right, by giving time back, now that has moved up to 50%, and there's different ways they can measure that. Or now that they have more selling time, they haven't necessarily closed more deals yet, but they have more opportunities in the pipeline, or because AI has helped do better research, they have more quality deals in the pipeline. So that's what a lot of like in these board meetings, these quarterly meetings with executives, what they're looking for is this increasing selling time? Are we getting more opportunities in the pipeline? Are there more quality opportunities? And if that is true, then eventually that revenue will show on the back end. So if you're saying revenue is already happening, like, it's probably not accurate yet. Maybe 6, 12, 18 months we could tell that story. But today, for those looking at AI, it's like, can we show that we're giving sellers more selling time? Or we're getting more opportunities because they have more time selling versus doing administrative tasks. Also, a shout out. So, every training session we do, I talk about how video is a game changer for salespeople. I said, if you knew me 15 years ago, me doing this and doing videos every week and posting those on LinkedIn and YouTube and everything like that wasn't me, but that humanizes the process so much more. So when deals go cold or they stall or whatever it may be, video is a great way to re-engage people. And we all consume video content on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. One of the first apps you open up is something video. So our customers and prospects in this modern world of buying, they want to consume video as well. So just a quick video of yourself, or maybe you're out in the seats and out in the bowl, whatever it may be, doing a video. So long story to say, my shout out goes to the Atlanta Braves sales team. Did a follow-up session with them, and I was talking about how they should be using video more, and their director cut me off right away. He's like, hey, that's one thing I'll give this team a shout out for. Like, they adopted that right away and they've been using video, and that's really helped them in the sales process. So shout out to Dan and his team over at the Braves that they've been implementing video into their sales process. Excited to see them continue to do it. But for sellers out there, teams out there that are watching this, video is a great way to engage, humanize, differentiate yourself from other sellers. So if a deal's gone cold, great way to re-engage somebody, or just keep that momentum going in between meetings to help move closer towards a deal closing. So, all right, in closing, so talked about the type of skills you need to learn if you want to step into a revenue operations role, type of people, whether it's from sales or not, that would make a good fit, and what's needed, particularly like an executive presence and somebody who can collaborate and project manage, process through and change management. And with some pretty strong executives, people have motivations, their own focuses, their own desires, and they don't like change. So if you can do that well, that's a skill that you've had, this could be a great role for you as you look to step into sports or maybe make a transition into a new role within sports that has a ton of opportunity and upside that is still just getting new to the industry. So if this was valuable, hit like, gets out to more people in the YouTube ecosystem. Share this with somebody in your network that you think this is valuable for and they'd get a ton of value from. Subscribe so each week to add new videos. You get updated with new videos. Oh, last thing, quick shout out. Got the Griffies for Father's Day. So I've had them here. I've been meaning to talk about them for the past couple weeks. Shout out to my wife Brittany And the girls got that for Father's Day. I've been talking about them for years, finally got them. So I wear them on occasion, but it's also made a great mainstay here in my backdrop for my videos as well. But like I tell my daughters every day when I drop them off for school, go be awesome today, and I'll be back next week with another video. Thanks.
That's nothing. I'ma be doing this and I'm gonna be head hunting. Oh baby, don't know. Oh baby, don't go. Oh baby, don't know. Oh baby, don't go.